Imagine a decade with no cell phones, internet, or social media. Sounds impossible. But in the 1980s, it was normal. But how do people stay connected and entertained? What did they do to keep busy? You're about to find out. Number 1. Real film projector. If you needed to watch a quick movie on the go, you had Netflix to the rescue. But in the 1980s, movie nights meant rolling out a bulky film projector to be entertained. It was easy to impress your friends then. You brought out a real projector and everyone is jumping in excitement. Nearly every middle-class family had one. The reel would snag or melt from the heat sometimes. Well, those were signs of technical issues. I remember my dad bringing out the projector for family night, and the whirring machine sound was part of the magic. 1980s kids can attest to watching movies this way. Although the quality was poor, everyone enjoyed it. Today, modern projectors are sleek, digital, and effortless. Safe to say, we've lost that nostalgic charm. If you ever tried to set up a vintage projector today, you'd be Googling how to set up a vintage projector. Anyway, good luck with that. Number 2. The Sears Wish Book. If you remember the Sears Wish Book, you're a true 1980s legend. This book was a 600-page manifestation of visions. This wish book magically appeared in mailboxes across many homes. For kids, this was better than TV. 1980s kids would grab a pen and circle everything they liked. Maybe a BMX bike or a game system. The multiple pages on the wish book had other exciting gift ideas to choose from. If you missed a gift idea on one page, there will always be another page with lots of other ideas. The best section for the 1980s kids was the toys. This page is also called the page of imagination. Kids would compare their choices with their friends. And let's not forget the heartbreak when you circle the deluxe Lego set only to unwrap boring socks. Dang it! Today, kids have Amazon and can choose anything in one click. The excitement is no more. Nothing beats sitting cross-legged on the floor with the wish book and dreaming big. Number 3. Hanging out in the woods. If you've seen The Goonies or Stranger Things, you know what childhood was like in the 1980s. Did you also know that 1980s kids practically lived in the woods? They were armed with sticks called swords and backpacks filled with their favorite snacks. My friends and I once built a fort made from a pile of branches. It served as a home for the few hours we spent there. We spent time calling ourselves secret agents and explorers. It was a long time away from home, but our parents didn't mind. We had fun in the woods until a bee stung someone. The only problem with playing in the woods was coming home late. You can have as much fun as possible, provided you're home before dinner. Parents were distracted by other activities rather than worrying about their kids. Today, kids have video games and social media to keep them busy. Maybe they're safer now, but is this fun? I doubt it. I remember the several bruises and mud-stained faces when I think of the woods. What do you remember about playing in the woods? Number 4. Playing with grenades and explosives. Speaking of playing outdoors, 1980s kids were wild. There were lots of fireworks and bottle rockets. As if that's not enough danger, hardly was there any adult to supervise them. Let's just say there were adults, but everyone was relaxed. Once upon a time, I knew of a 7-year-old who lit a firecracker that backfired and burned a hole in his jeans. What did he do after this? He laughed it off. His parents warned him not to hurt himself, and that was it. No one talked to the child about safety or stopped him from playing with firecrackers. Who still remembers using Roman candles? That should have gotten many kids grounded for life. Looking back, it's a miracle that many 80s kids survived. Fast forward to 2024, and kids wear helmets for everything. Although it's safer, the 80s taught resilience and courage. Number 5. jumping off bridges and cliffs. Hot summer days in the 80s meant finding the nearest bridge or cliff and daring each other to jump. Modern kids would never understand the thrill of jumping several feet down for fun. There were no waivers or lifeguards, just friends urging you to jump. Kids would jump off a rusty old bridge and scream while at it. If you showed signs of fear, your friends would laugh at you or call you a chicken. And even when you fell, it was cool to watch you in pain. After all, it wouldn't last forever. 1980s kids spent hours at bridges and cliffs cheering each other on. No one would try this today because it's considered dangerous. Even if you try, you will use a safety harness or a liability waiver. Your parents wouldn't even let you do it. Number 6. Latchkey Kids. The 1980s is also called the golden age of latchkey kids. When school closed, kids would walk home alone and arrive at an empty house. They helped themselves with their basic needs until their parents got back. While this is shocking, it was fun and normal in the 1980s. Kids prepare their lunch, usually anything they can find at home. It could be fruits, chips, or pizza. It was fun playing around without supervision. Sometimes kids called each other on landlines or rode bikes in the neighborhood. It gets better if your friends live around. You can visit and play with them until your parents came back home. Latchkey kids had all the fun they could get until smartphones and other modern inventions took over. Today, smartphones, tablets, and video games are the best companions. Imagine a 10-year-old watching TV for hours while waiting for mom to return. If only they knew how fun it was years ago. Number 7. Riding in the back of a pickup truck. You've not known pure joy if you've not ridden in the back of a pickup truck. The feeling was one of the best things about growing up in the 80s. The bumps on the road, the wind in your hair, and the thrill of breaking every safety rule. What could be better? Even worse was that kids would sit on the edge of the truck with their legs dangling and pretending they were in an action movie. And the best part? They waved at strangers who even reciprocated with a smile. But here's where things get messy. The driver could suddenly stop, sending everyone flying in different directions. Yikes! Riding in the back of a pickup truck was unsafe but fun. Today, you could get into trouble for smaller issues like not wearing a seatbelt. You wouldn't even let your kid experiment with this. But for people who experienced this, it was freedom. Number 8. Using a typewriter. Before laptops and autocorrect, there was the typewriter. As exciting as this machine was, if you messed up, you couldn't hit the backspace because there was none. Instead, you hit panic mode. 1980 students spent hours typing their assignments with a typewriter. It gets more frustrating if you keep hitting the wrong keys. The clack-clack-ding sound was oddly satisfying though. For instance, the IBM typewriter was a family treasure. Many families had this latest invention. This machine was so precious that when it broke, families held a mini funeral for it. Today, typing is effortless, thanks to sophisticated desktops and laptops. But where is the typing drama? It doesn't exist anymore. The typewriter taught us precision and patience. Every kid needs to use a typewriter at least once in their life to appreciate the easy life they have now. Number 9. Trading mixtapes with friends. The mixtape was the game changer in the 1980s. It took time, effort, and a stack of blank cassettes. 80s kids had the time of their lives. They'd sit by the radio with their fingers over the record button and pray the DJ wouldn't talk over the song's intro. The order of the songs was important too. Sometimes the radio played a breakup ballad after a party anthem. So annoying. Giving someone a mixtape is like sharing a piece of your soul in your best tracks. It was the perfect gift for a cherished one. Trading mixtapes is like sharing playlists today. Well, we have it better now. You can share your playlist with a link. It is convenient, but not so adventurous. Mixtapes were personal, messy, and hearty, just like in the 1980s. Number 10. Watching the Challenger disaster. January 28, 1986, is a day every 80s kid would never forget. That day, classes stopped, and kids gathered around a bulky television to watch the Challenger launch. Everyone was excited that Krista McAuliffe was going to space, but just 73 seconds after liftoff, everything changed. The Challenger exploded, leaving the world confused and heartbroken. Teachers struggled to explain to kids what had happened. It was the first time many kids faced the reality of tragedy. The 1980s kids learned resilience and bravery that day. We still stream space launches online today, but the technology is more advanced. We still remember the Challenger and the risks of exploring space. Which of these 80s facts did we miss? Please share your coolest 1980s facts in the comments below.